When you look at just their numbers set by set, hit 244 as a team in that first set. Second set hit 269, and in that third set they hit 172. So they did their part, but like you said, Rob, it was not easy for them to finally find a way to get out on top because that Denison team, they just would not give in.
No, they would not, and that is different that we saw from Hiram because Hiram just sort of gave up. They had a very lopsided loss in that first set to Carnegie Mellon, who won 25-8. It became a little bit more competitive as the game went on, but then towards that middle to final part in the third set, they just gave up, and it was an easy victory. So it's kind of tough for Carnegie Mellon whenever you had those easy wins to then come into a really competitive environment, play 3 matches, not within like 24 hours. That's a lot. So right now, I'm sure that they're going to be, the stamina is going to be a question, but I think the conditioning through this team and as they've progressed throughout this season, I think obviously they'll be fine. SUNY Brockport just came off a really competitive 5-set match against Denison that they were able to become or take the victory there in that one. But Denison was up 2-0 in that game, and they came back and won 3 sets in a row. So I'm sure fatigue is going to potentially plague them here in the second game.
And for SUNY Brockport, this is their second straight match that they have gone into 5 sets. You look at their previous match that they played before taking on Denison just a few hours ago, and they lost to St. John Fisher in 5 sets. Now, what really stood out there was that Brockport outblocked John Fisher 7-4. So really the play up front was dominated by Brockport, but to your point, Rob, fatigue could very well be a potential aspect in this one with Brockport coming off a really, really challenging match against Denison. And we all can probably agree the amount of energy that you have to exert as a team to try and come back after being down 1 set or 2 sets to none and then finally fight your way back. Jordan Thompson for SUNY Brockport picking up the big-time game-winning block against Denison that ultimately catapulted SUNY Brockport to a 19-6 overall record. And this is a team, Rob, that's been tremendous in their conference all season long in SUNY Brockport in the SUNYAC, sitting in 8-1 overall. And another thing to look at, Rob, their away record, 8-1 for SUNY Brockport this season as well.
Yeah, they do like to play on the road, but they're going up against our Carnegie Mellon team that likes to play at home. They were 7-0 coming in to today, 8-0 with that victory against Denison. So they have not lost yet at home, and they're obviously going to be a formidable foe. But we do have the starting lineups that are being read now, and we have them available for you here. Starting off with SUNY Brockport, it'll be the senior standing in at 5'4", libero, number 1, Madeline Bowen. And then we'll have an outside hitter, Jordan Thompson, sporting number 3. And then we'll have Maya Frostclap wearing number 4. Number 9 will be Andrea Coyle. Number 10 will be Carrie McHale, the 5th year, both those individuals 5th year, using their extra year of eligibility due to the COVID year. Number 12, Elena Wilson, and then number 22, Maddie Farnsworth, the 5'8" junior outside hitter. So that rounds the starting lineup for SUNY Brockport. And then for Carnegie Mellon, it's the same as usual, but we do have Catherine Jackson in the lineup, the freshman. And we'll have Mindy Lai, Stella Yan, Kai Herkenrother, Laura Raychard, Jane Dean, and Abby Chen. So that would be the starters for Carnegie Mellon. And obviously keep an eye on Laura Raychard, who had a very impressive outing against Denison in that first game. We saw a few really good defensive plays that led to a point, and she pretty much willed the team to victory in one of those sets against Denison.
Yeah, Raychard with 9 kills in that match this morning against Denison, hit 147. And a player to watch defensively for Carnegie Mellon because she struggled against Denison earlier today. 5 receiving errors for Catherine Jackson, did pour in 7 kills. So she is going to get involved offensively, but defensively she's going to have to really step up because I mentioned it in that opening match this morning, Rob, the serve receive for Carnegie Mellon clearly was a struggle for them. It'll be Madeline Bowen at the service line to open things up. Senior from Panama, New York. This is a good opening serve in play. There's Dean, paintbrushing one over. In the back set to Jordan Thompson, and Thompson getting the party started, carrying over the tremendous performance she had in the last match and continuing on a strong start here in this match.
Yeah, and the kill count for this SUNY Brockport team sort of spread all over the board, but Jordan Thompson leading the way with close to 300 kills on the season.
There's Yan, that gives it up for Dean, and Dean smothering one over and getting Carnegie Mellon's first point in this match.
Jane Dean just uses her height so well, really a force, and she's a quick sub. As coming in now is Isabella Sierra.
There's Abby Chen at the service line, sends one long of the court. So an early service error for the Tartans, and that is something that had plagued them this morning, but they were able to overcome those challenges as we see Ashley Allen, number 7 for Brockport, check in, a Leesburg, Virginia native. She has 385 assists on the season. Here's Thompson with the serve, and Thompson with a bullet of a serve, forcing Rayshard to duck out of the way of that one, and a wise move by Rayshard as it went long of the court. So service error for Brockport. That sets up Stella Yan back at the service line. Low serve by Yan. There's Coyle. And Coyle runs one into the netting, so another error early on here for this Brockport team.
So Andrea Coyle, second on the team in kills, with about 270. She just didn't get enough on it as it hit the outside part of her hand.
Great lunging dig there by Yan. Rolled over by Schlemmer. Here's Coyle, has it wiped at the net. Good job by Jackson to step up in the back row. And there's Schlemmer, make that Rayshard as Rayshard finding enough space and dropping it in for another Tartan point, and CMU extends their lead to 2 now.
Yeah, Rayshard, she has a very powerful shot, but what's interesting about her is that she has tremendous placement, so she can use that power if she wants. She's also incredibly accurate. That time she just forced it in with power. She's so dynamic.
Yeah, she has been tremendous for this Tartans team all year long as Stella Yan sends that serve out of play. Already 2 service errors in this match for Carnegie Mellon. It's Andrea Coyle at the service line. Sends a deep one, backing up Raychart. There's Schlemmer, and Schlemmer threads the needle as she caught both Thompson and Coyle staring at each other, wondering whose ball that was.
Yeah, not the best communication there on the back line for SUNY Brockport. Cost them a point.
CMU up 5-3. Another good serve by Raychart. There's Megan Loomis. And a tumbling save there in the back row by Raychart, but an error committed off the swing by Catherine Jackson.
Yeah,
that one love that effort in the back row, Rob.
It was great effort to keep it alive, but Jackson just couldn't get enough on it. The ball was awkward and had a weird spin to it, so she kind of just changed up her form there just to kind of punch it over the net, but it just hit weird off one of her knuckles, I would imagine, and spiraled out of bounds.
Here's Brooklyn Sullivan at the service line, and that one goes wide of the court. Again, good eyes there down the sideline by Schlemmer as well as Kai Herkenrother. Now we'll see some subs getting set to check in. Jane Dean re-entering into the match for the libero Abby Chen. And then we see Olivia Devereaux entering into the match for her first bit of action in this match. Great serve by Devereaux. A big pounding swing by Loomis. Sky-high dig and then rolled over by Jackson. Another swing that is wiped at the net, and it's Elena Williamson able to overpower Jane Dean up front. And Rob, you and I mentioned Jane Dean's name quite a bit this morning. She was tremendous for this Carnegie Mellon defense.
Yeah, she was. And this time, a little bit of confusion with her and Raychard as to who was going to make contact on that ball. I think Jane Dean probably would have wanted that back to allow Raychard to get underneath it.
Here's Carrie McCall. McCall this year surpassing the 2,000 career assist mark for Brockport. So a very historic season for number 10 in white. It's Raychard able to save it, and Dean capitalizing and putting the finishing touches on that point.
Yeah, Carrie McHale was in a bad position after she was able to roll the ball over the net. She was trying to work more towards that near sideline. Couldn't get back in time, and a better finish there by Jane Dean.
And an ace here for Mindy Lai, as that one just lies in play. Big point there for Carnegie Mellon, and they extend their lead to 3. Here's Lai again. Coming into this weekend, Lai with 29 points on the year. Great dig there by Thompson to keep it alive off the shove down by Pan. Make that Yan. Poked over by Thompson. There's Jackson going down the line and just goes wide of the court, out of bounds. Another attacking error for Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah, McHale was close to touching that one. Wisely let off at the last second. That one looked like it was headed towards the line, but changed direction at the last second.
Here's Maddie Farnsworth at the service line. 5'8" junior, hailing from Bergen, New York. Sent up front for Jackson, and Jackson still able to wedge it through the attempted block up front. Coyle has it blocked up front at the net by Yan as well as Dean. And again, Thompson placing it right down in front of an extended Mindy Lai. And that was a great placement there, and you can tell already, Rob, that Coyle as well as Thompson on the outside, they're going to be very constant themes here offensively for Brockport.
Yeah, they are formidable. Obviously, the leaders on the team in kills have some great size, great finishing ability.
That one sent into the net by Farnsworth.
Is that the third service error already on SUNY Brockport? I believe it is.
It is the third service error for Brockport. Only 2 service errors for Carnegie Mellon, so already 5 service errors through the first 16 points here in this opening set. And as we say that, the broadcasting jinx lives on as Catherine Jackson sends that one into the netting. So now both teams with 3 service errors apiece, as it's Madeline Bowen, the libero, that heads back to the service line. Yan gives it to Dean. Blocked at the net. Lai able to keep it alive. Raychart rolls it over, ricochets around as it hit off the arms of Coyle and then smacked off of Bowen's chest as she was almost surprised that it came her way. Nonetheless, point falls for Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah, it looked like Coyle was unsure as to whether or not she wanted to hit that. It also had a lot of velocity and a good dip to that ball. It was just awkward for Bowen to play.
Lai digs it up off the swing by Coyle. And Chen sends over a big free ball. Thompson on the outside. Raychart sent back, and it's Thompson as well as Maya Frostclap turning away that shot and giving Brockport a little opportunity here. And now Brockport pulls within 1.
A very competitive affair here in this first set. Brockport really attacking with some fury here.
And talk about fury, as there was...
But it has cost them.
It has cost them, yes. As we see it there, as Thompson putting a lot of fury behind that serve, going out of play. And so now if you're Brockport, again, you can't be trading points with this Carnegie Mellon team. We saw it earlier this morning. This is a Tartans team that will make other teams pay. And right on cue, it's Stella Yan making Brockport's defense pay with a much-needed Tartan ace.
Yeah, Farnsworth and Bowen both had an attempt for that ball. And it's really these self-inflicted wounds for SUNY Brockport that have plagued them here in that first set.
There's a great downward angle by Maya Frostclap as she sent that one straight through the ground. Brockport pulls within 2 as we see number 15, Megan Loomis, re-enter into the match here for Brockport. It's Andrea Coyle back at the service line. Yan back sets to Schlemmer. Schlemmer rockets one off the arms of Coyle. Bowen sliding for it, couldn't quite catch up to it. And again, the Tartans extending their lead to 3. Carnegie Mellon team that comes into this match on a 4-match winning streak, looking to make it 5 as they are getting prepared for their UAA tournament next weekend as they will take on Chicago in the opening round of the quarterfinals. Rolled over by Loomis and goes long of the court as Loomis put a little too much air underneath that swing.
Yeah, she knew it as soon as that left her hand. You saw the reaction before it even touched the ground.
There's Raychart with a great serve. And Loomis again with a big swing. Jackson rolls it over. Shoved over by Allen. Jackson has it wiped at the net. Great lunging dig there by Loomis. Allen pushing it far back into the back row. Quick set to the middle, and Herkenrother with the exclamation point at the end of the point. Big swing up front in the middle, and that forces Brockport to call a timeout as Kate Isaacson. Kate Isaacson, head coach for Brockport, wanting to chat things over. Coach Isaacson was actually promoted to being the interim head coach just this past summer, Rob. August 19th, 2022. She was an assistant at Brockport last year, played at Clarkson University. So, I mean, hey, if you're going to have an interim head coach take over at the beginning of the season, I think that Isaacson, perfect person to do that, especially with her playing background.
Yeah, and she's had some success, right? I mean, they've had a really good season so far, 18-6 coming into this one, or 19-6, I should say, after that win to Denison. 8-1 in the SUNY. And I think that, if you take a look at their roster and their coaching staff, they have a relatively large coaching staff. So this is a program that I'm sure likes to develop those young coaches, keep them in-house if they can. And I think she's done a great job in her interim season.
No question, guiding this Brockport team to a 19-6 overall record, 8-1 in the conference. Winners of 5 of their last 6 matches. They've done a really, really nice job all year long. This is a program in Brockport that has quite a bit of history behind it. First season of NCAA volleyball for Brockport was back in 1985. They've been to 6 NCAA tournament appearances, but I know that Coach Ann Bach for Carnegie Mellon has also guided this Tartans program to some big-time heights over the last few years, especially in her first season at the helm for Carnegie Mellon, guiding the Tartans to a 22-8 overall record in 2019 as Raychart rolling one casually over as it dropped down in front of a plethora of Brockport defenders. Here's Raychart again, backing up Coyle. The back set to Frostclap and goes long of the court. So now the errors and the miscues are starting to pile up here on Brockport, and they have yet to find an answer in stopping it.
Yeah, they're having a really hard time keeping it in play. They're just sending it too long, or they're having service errors into the net.
And Raychart finding a little bit of space in the back row as she picks up another Tartans ace and extends the Tartans lead to 8.
And I mean, it might be a little tricky since we're in an auxiliary gym here, right? Could be a little, different from what they're used to potentially at their home court, but that's what gives Carnegie Mellon a huge advantage.
And a double is whistled against Kai Herkenrother.
And
however, they changed the call because Herkenrother only touched that on the first touch.
Yeah, she only touched it once. Yeah, I'm not sure where that call came from, but everybody makes mistakes, right? Everybody has those days.
So no point is awarded. It looks like they will replay the point as Herkenrother received the ball, but it looked like she was trying to pass it almost. Nonetheless, play resumes. Frostclap sends one over into the back row and finds some real estate for her SUNY Brockport team.
Yeah, that was just on the line there. You can see on the camera screen, there's a little bit of blue tape right there on the tape.
18-11, Carnegie Mellon leads by 7 here in the opening set of the best of 5. Here's Brooklyn Sullivan back at the service line. Deep serve, picked up by Raychart, then shot over by Stella Yan. Loomis has it redirected by Schlemmer up front. Yan feeds Herkenrother. Thompson off the left hand. Schlemmer with the late reaction still scoops it up. Sent over by Raychart. Loomis softly sends over a free ball. Schlemmer guiding one over. Great rally by both teams. Coyle from the hit line. Good reaction down the line by Yan. Chen lobs it up for Jackson. Ball pinballs around, kept alive by Brockport. As the point continues. There's Jackson again, and she finally finishes it off, but referee ruling that it was a net violation, so a hitting error ultimately ends the rally and gives SUNY Brockport the point.
Interesting.
Quite the rally, but when you have those long rallies, you exert quite a bit of energy. Here's Sullivan again. Schlemmer off the left hand. Skied high off the arms of Thompson. Loomis. Jackson. Thompson got an arm on it. Coyle and Sullivan running out of room. Then Jackson putting her team up by 7 now.
There's Ariana Rosario coming into the game for the first time, had a tremendous senior night yesterday. 8 kills. She was fun to watch, and she had the energy. Her team was fired up, and she had some power and some finish ability that we've seen flashes of, but it came full circle last night against Hiram.
As Devereaux comes in with the fisted dig, but unsuccessful as she served it. So point going over for SUNY Brockport, as we see Kai Herkenrother getting set to check in for Olivia Devereaux. And then they make the quick sub out for the libero, Abby Chen. 19-13, Carnegie Mellon leads by 6. As it looks like SUNY Brockport trying to figure out the substitutions here. Carrie McCall. Looks like she's checking in. Seems to be some confusion on the rotations down on the floor. They look to be sorting it out, though. McCall will head back to McHale, excuse me. Carrie McHale will head back to the service line. 474 assists for McHale, as we already mentioned. Has already surpassed the 2,000 career assist mark in her collegiate career. Schlemmer with a screamer that goes cross court. McHale tried everything she could to keep it alive, but ultimately just couldn't react quick enough. As we see Mindy Lai re-enter into the match for Carnegie Mellon, 20-13. CMU still owning a 7-point lead. Loomis was wiped at the net. Lai playing the line well. Jackson turned away. Chen right there to scoop it up. Another big swing. Raychart right there to dig it. McHale back set to Thompson. Playing the line beautifully is Chen. And then Chen sending over a gentle free ball. Cross-court pass to Loomis. As it pieced up at the net by Yan, and then Yan again. Doing a great job, still trying to redirect it, but Thompson not allowing anything to hit the ground. Loomis again has it rejected. And this time, finally, the point going over for Carnegie Mellon. A 4-hit violation whistled against SUNY Brockport, as Stella Yan was just relentless up front defensively. Here's Mindy Lai again. Going down the line. That one sent back over for the Tartans, and then blocked up front by Yan, and the point goes for the Tartans. Stella Yan doing a little bit of everything. Has over 800 assists this season, over 80 kills, and also hitting .289 coming into today. McHale finds Loomis. Hit up and blocked well by Jackson, and then sent over by Yan. Loomis again, and she finally finds space as Raychart read it well, just was a step too slow.
I'm surprised Yan didn't secure a point there. It seemed like SUNY Brockport was all moving right to left, and Yan put it against the direction that they were going, and somehow they were able to figure that out and save it. But Stella Yan is such a smart, high IQ volleyball player, and she almost got away with it there.
Maddie Farnsworth at the service line as Chen kneeling down to dig it up. And there's Rosario forcing chaos over for Brockport's defense. Free ball sent over by Bowen. Here's Jackson as she shoves one down the near side and picks up a Tartan point. Here's Katherine Jackson, freshman outside hitter, and she picks up a service error.
I don't know, that one was close. We have a pretty good vantage point, bird's eye view.
Yeah, we really have a nice setup up here, I have to say. Don't have to worry about any spatial issues, not bumping into anybody. Although I might bump into you, Rob. I do apologize if I do that. Bowen sending in a good serve. And Rosario a little bit too far behind the passer, Yan. It looked like Rosario and Yan not quite on the same page there.
It seemed like Rosario, it almost seemed like she kind of wanted to just barely get it over the net to fall. She just didn't get enough of it.
Here's Bowen again. 23-16, Carnegie Mellon leads. And it's Laura Raychart with the scorching swing down the side as she sets her team up for a set point opportunity. 24-16, Abby Chen heading to the service line. Chen on the year with 63 assists. She sends in a good serve. There's Thompson. Raychart trying to find some space, and it stays in play for Laura Raychart. Oh my, Rob, can you believe that? The junior, with beautiful touch and finesse, puts the finishing touches on this first set, 25-16. Carnegie Mellon goes up 1-0.
That was just barely in play. Hit the line. That ball just dies. She is just so talented. And what an impressive first set for Carnegie Mellon. We worried maybe stamina, some fatigue after all that volleyball being played, but that doesn't seem to be the case so far.
As we get some statistics from that opening set, Rob, and I think something that really jumps out to me is the hit percentage for Brockport in that opening set. The defense for Carnegie Mellon doing a tremendous job limiting this Brockport team to an 86% hitting percentage. You go back to the first set of the previous match today that Carnegie Mellon played against Denison, and Denison did a little bit of a better job offensively, hit 139 in that opening set. So we'll have to see if this Carnegie Mellon team, maybe they have a little bit of a better defensive performance in this second match of the day for them.
Yeah, I think, maybe a little bit of fatigue there in that first set for SUNY Brockport. But here's the thing, they were down 2-0 in that last one against Denison, and I don't think they're a team that you can feel comfortable with. Even though you won the first set, maybe if they win the second, they came right back, and with that kind of determination, you know that the rest of the sets aren't going to be easy.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And I mean, you just look at just the numbers that this team has had this season and just how well that they've been playing as a whole. And again, with an interim head coach taking over what would have, I'm guessing, been probably 2 weeks before the season starts, and you rattle off 19 wins and the season continuing on. A team that in Brockport that finished first in the SUN YAC conference this year in kills with over 1,100 kills. They're also first in the conference in assists, first in digs, second in aces, third in hit percentage. So there really wasn't anything this Brockport team couldn't do this season in the conference. Look over at how Carnegie Mellon fared in the UAA, fourth in the UAA in kills this year with over 1,000 on their end. And then really the three other statistics to jump out at: third in aces in the conference with 182, third in digs with over 1,600, and then fourth in assists with over 900, and obviously over 800 of those coming from one individual player in Stella Yan, who, if I'm not mistaken, Rob, you mentioned that she's now up to 7th all-time in the career assist leaders?
She was approaching. It was going to be this weekend where she was potentially going to hit it. We don't have a live track as of right now. We would have to do the math, which I am perfectly willing to do, but just give me a second. We'll see how close she is.
Rob, a man of many talents. One of them is counting and figuring out statistics. Me, on the other hand,
I would say that's a weakness. Listen.
Hey, you're going to do better at numbers than I am. I have 10 out of 10 on that one. I can't even believe I figured out 10. Speaking of which, we're back here in the second set. Chen with the opening serve for Carnegie Mellon. There's Raychart, has it blocked up at the net. Good challenge there by Elena Williamson. And that ball scorched off the arms of McHale. And so Carnegie Mellon picking up the opening point here in the second set. Big swing there by Catherine Jackson. Here's Chen again, and Chen picking up an ace for the Tartans. Quick start here for the Tartans. Up 2-0 already. Chen still serving as Bowen receives it. Lobbed up there for Coyle. Raychart. Coyle again rolls another one over. Herkenrother up front. McHale gives it up there for Williamson, and Williamson with the redirection and gives SUNY Brockport their first point of this second set. Williamson on the year with 92.5 points. A freshman from Roanoke, Virginia, that also has 70 kills on the season. Here's Bowen, goes cross court with the serve. Yan running out of space, and it's an ace for SUNY Brockport. So after 2 consecutive points to open up the second set by Carnegie Mellon, SUNY Brockport answering back with 2 points of their own. Another low serve by Bowen, and Lai couldn't dig it up. It was a shoestring ace there by Madeline Bowen, as she had to force Mindy Lai to reach down to about her shoelaces to dig that one up off the ground. SUNY Brockport taking the lead here in this second set up 3-2. And there's Rayshard. Gets it right back. Locked up at the net by Thompson. As Bowen calls everyone off. Quick set up front as Rayshard has it sent right back to her. And then the ball pinballs around. Suni Brockport getting the point thanks in part to Jordan Thompson. Make that Maya Frostclap who gets credit on the kill. Frostclap with 187 kills on the year coming into today. Bowen still serving. Suni Brockport taking a 4-2 lead. Jackson gliding one over. And there's a big swing by Thompson, but the point awarded over for Carnegie Mellon off the double violation by Suni Brockport. Elizabeth Schlemmer re-enters into the match for Mindy Lai.
All right, so Stellian needed 85 more assists. She headed into, there's a point here by Brockport. She was heading into this week with 805 assists. She's currently at 883, and she needed 85.
Rob and I are looking at each other as if we are good at math.
Well, the math thing is not. Let me get back to you on that, because I want to make sure that what I had in my notes was correct.
The point going over for Suni Brockport, thanks in part to make that correction. Point going over for Carnegie Mellon. So a violation whistled against Suni Brockport. It's an attacking error on Andrea Coyle.
So she is 6 shy of holding 7th place. I had 805. It's actually 804 is what she came in with. So she is 7 assists shy. We'll see if she can get that here today. She's on pace for it. She already has double digits assist.
Megan Loomis re-entering into the match after the kill by Andrea Coyle. And Coyle with 255 kills coming into today. But over the last 9 matches, she has only had single-digit kills in 8 of them. Over that 9-match streak, had a high of 12 kills. There's Frostclap, smacks one down, finds room in the back row. So Maya Frostclap getting involved, and very similar to this Carnegie Mellon team, Suni Brockport with a ton of options offensively. You have Jordan Thompson, Andrea Coyle, Elena Williamson, Maya Frostclap, as we see Coyle the service error, giving Carnegie Mellon another point. But again, just the widespread versatility offensively by both of these teams. You can definitely tell that now Carnegie Mellon, they might be matched up pretty well with another very talented team in Suni Brockport. Here's Devereaux, who's just entered into the match, and she sends an error long of the court.
Yeah, Suni Brockport, again, they don't go away easily. We saw them compete in that last one, down 2-0, took it to 5 sets, and ended up winning. I believe the last one they won 15-8.
Here's Frostclap, the lower serve, received well by Schlemmer. And Dean with a dart that finds room in the back row. Jane Dean with a fireball. That touchdown with just a narrow amount of room in the back row, scorched past Andrea Coyle in the back row. Mindy Lai at the service line. And Lai forcing Sullivan to stumble around for the dig. Awkward swing by Loomis, and she sends that one wide of the court. And again, just when you put in a really good serve, it forces the defense to scatter around, and we saw just there the chaos that ensued for Brockport. Carnegie Mellon trails by 1. Another lunging dig there by Sullivan. Swung on and blocked right back after Williamson had an attempt up front. Dean has it blocked initially by Williamson and then dug up well by Bowen, and then it's scooped back over by Jane Dean.
Yeah, the Suni Brockport did not think that was a legal play there by Jane Dean. They are trying to plead their case. No review, like they did the last time when there was a questionable call, but that one was certainly incorrect, and they got it right on that Herkenrother call.
Jackson goes long of the court.
That was a double hit, right, that they called back initially in that first set.
Carnegie Mellon hitting 185 in this match. Brockport hitting 106. As we see Carrie McHale head back to the service line. 2 aces for Brockport, but 4 aces for Carnegie Mellon. However, both teams with 5 service aces apiece, and now make that 6 for SUNY Brockport as McHale goes long of the court on the serve.
It's really those errors that you're just shooting yourself in the foot. That's what really can catch up to you, and that's what caught up to them in that first set.
Here's Jackson with the serve. Coyle having to bend down for it. Williamson looking to redirect it down the line. Raychart with great downward angle, piercing through the defense and putting Carnegie Mellon back in the lead by 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a timeout here if Carnegie Mellon gets another point. You know, they were down here by a few points, now taking the lead by 1.
Here's Jackson. Again, another great serve. Coyle rolling one over gently and then shot right back over by Yan. Thompson slowly approaches, has it blocked, and it goes out of play. So a tool block for Jordan Thompson down the near side, as that was awfully close to staying in play.
And Bowen was just willing that one out of bounds, was she not?
Oh, absolutely.
Watched it all the way.
Absolutely. She had the...
It's like a baseball player when you're hitting it down the line and...
trying to wave it fair.
Yeah, right?
She tried to wave that one out of play, and it worked for her. Big serve there by Marin Lutz. Stray Sharp has it wiped up front at the net. Williamson punching one through the front row of the defense. As Elena Williamson would not be denied up front at the net.
Yeah, she got Abby Chen working backwards. As soon as she was about to hit it, that's when Chen was starting to move backwards. Smart heads-up play to hit it just in front. Hard play for Chen to make.
Yan to Raychart. Another scorcher goes off the hands of Bowen. And too bad we don't have some sort of radar gun to attach to Laura Raychart, because I would love to know the speed that she picks up on those swings. All tied up at 11 here in the second set. Abby Chen with a beautiful serve. Coyle stumbling out of play for it. Thompson, though, as she goes wide of the court. So Thompson had a great approach there, but just couldn't put it in play.
Just barely missed. It was the right idea. That line, far line, was certainly there for the taking. Just a little too strong.
Coyle. Jackson. Thompson turned away. Herkenrother and Raychart both forming a tartan wall. 13-11. Carnegie Mellon on a 2-0 run. Here's Chen again. Thompson. Jackson from the hit line sends over a rocket. And here's Coyle. Slowly rolls over one. Herkenrother sent back, but Williamson only got a piece of it and couldn't put it back in tartan territory. And now this Carnegie Mellon team goes up by 3.
Yeah, they're taking charge here in the second set. 14-11.
3 straight points for the Tartans. Great job by McHale to play it off the netting, and then Thompson comes scorching in for a huge tool block there to finally end the streak for Carnegie Mellon. SUNY Brockport still trails by 2.
That was Williamson right there at the net. And a great set behind her. A better finish there.
Yan feeds Raychart. Great dig by Bowen. Coyle. Jackson. As Jackson comes gliding in for a big swing, goes off the arms of Marin Lutz. See Elizabeth Schlemmer re-enter into the match for Mindy Lai. Schlemmer, the leader in kills, especially as a freshman, very impressive, over 200 kills on the season for Schlemmer. As Frostclap comes off 1 foot, sends over a scorching ball, and then it's Schlemmer with the needle-threading shot, as she had bodies flying all over the place for Brockport and puts her Tartans up 4.
Yeah, she split it between Lutz and McHale. Just couldn't get there. She's got a powerful shot from that left hand, doesn't she?
Coyle turned away. This time, Schlemmer with the rejection.
Gotta love how excited she got. She's having fun with this. SUNY Brockport is not. They take a timeout.
Rob McKinney and Jack Ridenour are with you all for some volleyball action on a lovely Saturday here in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. We appreciate you all joining us wherever you might be joining from. Just running through some numbers, some up-to-date current numbers. Carnegie Mellon hitting .242. They've been hitting really well over the last few matches as a team. Brockport still struggling, hitting 83%. Can't quite get out of that nearly negative, not quite negative, but almost negative area. CMU with the block battle in front, up 3-1 there, and then again the aces in favor of Carnegie Mellon, 4-2. There's Thompson. Schlemmer punches one through. And Elizabeth Schlemmer continuing the strong play that she's had all season long.
Well, I'm not sure Bowen really wanted to get a piece of that. I think it was just more reactionary. You had, I believe that was Lutz who was trying to work right to left.
Stella Yan sending one into the netting. A lot of service errors for both teams, as both teams are up to now 6 service errors. So a total of 12 points coming off of serving errors. Something that I'm sure both teams will want to clean up as they head into their conference tournament next weekend. Brooklyn Sullivan back at the service line. Sullivan with a nice serve. Raychart. Coyle rips one through the defense. There's Herkenrother, turned away by Frostclap. Raychart has it wiped up front, gets it right back, takes another swipe at it. Coyle with a huge emphatic swing, and finally gets the stamp to fall in the back row. 18-14, Carnegie Mellon still leads by 4, but Rob, again, you saw it in the last match with SUNY Brockport. This team does not give up.
No, that receiving end of theirs has been solid, and Raychart had a couple opportunities. So did Herkenrother.
Yeah, Schlemmer is stuffed up front by Coyle. Coyle pitching a huge roof there, not allowing anything over into SUNY Brockport territory.
Well, that was Frostclap, who was right there, standing in at 6'1", has the height for sure. The ladies behind her standing at 5'10" and 5'11".
Shorter serve by Sullivan. Raychart pushes it way into the back row. Great lunging dig by Lutz to keep the play alive. Schlemmer, as she fires one through the thickets of the defense. Scorched one past Coyle and rockets it off of Bowen's arm.
It seems like Schlemmer's really targeting Bowen here on the near side. Wherever she is, that's where Schlemmer's hitting the ball.
And Schlemmer really trying to pick her spots, and she has done a great job of that so far. There's Raychart with the serve. 19-15 CMU leads. Frostclap turned away up front. And there's Ivani Shishaya. She is checked into the match. There's Schlemmer, and Schlemmer comes flying in and really rips one right through the defense. Man, oh man, whether it's Schlemmer or Raychart, both outside hitters getting a considerable amount of air and elevation on their approach, as we have a timeout here for SUNY Brockport.
Yeah, Shishia checks in. She has a couple opportunities, and then it's given to Schlemmer. She's been really on full display. She was a little bit quiet in that game yesterday and in the game this morning, but she has reinserted herself, and really, you could see why she's the leader on this team in kills. And just a freshman too, that's what's amazing.
And you look at some of the other numbers for this Carnegie Mellon team, and to today, Schlemmer, and again, these statistics are all coming into today. So Schlemmer with 206 kills, Catherine Jackson with 109. Go further down, Laura Raychart with 196, Jane Dean with 162. So you just see the spread out attacking that this Carnegie Mellon team has, and head coach Ann Bach in her 3rd year here at Carnegie Mellon has to be very pleased with where she's got this team at this point of the year. And we mentioned it earlier this morning, Rob, but just the strength of schedule that the Tartans have. You look back at their entire year, faced off against 4 ranked opponents throughout the season, picked up 1 ranked win against Emory in 5 sets, and then fell to number 2 Juniata in straight sets, fell to number 6 NYU in 4 sets, and then fell to number 20 WashU in 4 sets as well.
Yeah, the UAA is just ultra competitive. Lots of parity there up at the top. And it's just amazing that a team that is 18-6 is towards the bottom of their conference.
Schlemmer. And Schlemmer again wedging it through the block on the near side. tooling it as both Frostclap and Coyle, a little confused, did not think that was against them, but none going for Carnegie Mellon.
What a match by Schlemmer, huh?
Yeah, she's done a tremendous
dominating.
job. Whether it's Schlemmer or Reichart, one of them's getting involved. Shashaya. Sky-high pass, and that one doesn't even get up to where Coyle was. It's a very awkward ball that lands in SUNY Brockport territory. Carnegie Mellon up by 7, 22-15. Reichart with another good serve. As Coyle fingertips it over. Shashaya. And Shashaya rolls one right in front of Bowen, as Bowen fell to the ground and just was not extended far enough for that swing.
Yeah, she's had some difficulties on the receiving end for sure, but they've been really hard hit balls.
Frostclap challenged up front, sent back for SUNY Brockport. Here's Coyle down the line. 23-15, Carnegie Mellon leads. Allen beats Coyle, and Coyle having to go offhand and still got it through somehow. Coyle, who's a right-handed hitter, sent it over with her left hand after the awkward pass from Allen. Nonetheless, found a little soft spot in the defense.
Well, that benefited her and the team. I think Carnegie Mellon was expecting that to come off her right hand, and obviously with that change there, change of pace, a little bit of a change up, they weren't quite ready for it.
Here's Coyle at the service line. Herkenrother, beautiful swing, dug up well by Bowen. And Loomis now getting involved on the near side. Schlemmer has it rejected up front at the net, and then Schlemmer runs into the netting. So a violation against Carnegie Mellon, giving SUNY Brockport a point. Here's Coyle. Deep serve, backing up Chen. Shashaya on the outside. Rips one off the arms of Bowen and goes out of play. Set point opportunity now for Carnegie Mellon, up 24-17.
Jane Dean, Catherine Jackson, Shashaya, you have Schlemmer, Reichard. The list goes on and on for how much talent they have, for individuals who can kill and kill often. And it's really just so dynamic. As we have a point here, an error against.
And that's going to do it for the second set.
SUNY Brockport. Yeah, that's not a great way to end it.
Not a great way to end it at all.
Wound.
However, this is a Brockport team that, again, they found themselves in this similar situation against Denison in the last match that was recently played, down 2-0, able to prevail and come back. But this is a very different team they're playing against in this Carnegie Mellon team. So 25-17 is the final there after Frostclap's error as she went up and tried to tip it over. Was challenged up front by Shashaya as well as Herkenrother, and then ultimately Frostclap hit it again and then also touched the net partially. So a violation is how this second set wraps up. We'll go through a couple statistics for everybody at home to wonder how these two teams are faring on paper. And again, the match being dominated offensively by Carnegie Mellon, hitting 253. They also have 41 digs, so they are doing a great job defensively as well. But another thing that I continue to highlight, Rob, 12 total service errors for both teams, 6 for each team. And that's something that you just can't have at all. You cannot allow for. But then the assist numbers are just glaringly different between these two teams. Carnegie Mellon with 27 helpers, and then Brockport with only 16 dimes. So very different in terms of the distribution numbers. You look over at some of the individual numbers. Jordan Thompson pacing the way for SUNY Brockport with 5 kills. You look over at Laura Reichart for Carnegie Mellon with 7 kills on 22 attempts. She's hitting 273 for the match. And then Elizabeth Schlemmer with 9 kills, so she's actually leading the way. And she's also been hitting it at a very efficient rate, 9 of 14. Only has 2 errors, hitting 500 in total. And so she has done a wonderful job on the outside. And to your point that you've said before, Rob, just the amount of talent that this CMU team has, I'm sure it really forces defenses to have to constantly backtrack, and they're always having to keep their head on a swivel. You can never take a play off with a team like Carnegie Mellon because of the amount of talent that they have.
No, absolutely not. And it speaks to the depth as well, the talent. And it doesn't waver. It doesn't matter who's in. They have success. And I think that's That's their bread and butter. That's their sustainability, for having that consistent success, is that the depth players come in and pick up right where the starters leave off. And to be honest, I really even wouldn't say starters. I would just say they're the first ones on the court, because you get a lot of playing time from so many ladies on your bench, and it really is a team effort every game.
Oh, without a doubt. And you look at just how SUNY Brockport has played over the last few matches, and they actually came into the weekend on a little bit of a streak. They were on a 4-match winning streak. Then they lost to St. John Fisher College, and then they took down Denison today. So they're winners of 5 of their last 6. Again, this is a Carnegie Mellon team that's winners of their last 4, looking to make it 5. So 2 very strong teams that have been playing really, really well as of late. But another big number that, or 2 numbers I should say, that jump out to me from that first to second set for Carnegie Mellon. Carnegie Mellon hitting 220 in the first set, hit 289 in the second set. And when you can improve that number each and every single time moving forward into the match and not showing that sign of fatigue, I mean, that is a dangerous team to have to defend.
25-16, 25-17. There was only 1 lead chain in the first set and 4 in the second set. So a total of 5 lead changes between the 2 sets. Listen, SUNY Brockport, they came back on Denison, but those were 2 really competitive beginning sets. We'll see if they can do it here against the Tartans at home, where they like to play. And they've had a lot of success this season, not losing a game at 8-0.
And that's, I'm sure, something that has been highlighted on this SUNY Brockport scouting report all year long, or really all week long, I should say, getting ready for this matchup against Carnegie Mellon. The fact that they're undefeated at home, and that's something that another team, an opposing team, especially going on the road, they can use to their advantage, kind of use as some encouragement or fuel, if you will, to add to the fire. And
anything that can get you motivated.
Yeah.
And that's just more. It's like, hey, listen, let's beat these ladies at home.
Let's give them their first home loss of the year.
For
We'll
sure.
we'll have to see if that one shakes out in that fashion, as it's Marin Lutz back at the service line to open up this 3rd set, as Carnegie Mellon leads 2-0. And Rosario in there up front for Carnegie Mellon has that block back after Coyle with the swing. Here's Thompson, sent back by Rosario as well. Rolled over by Coyle. Schlemmer. Quickly the mill for Williamson. Schlemmer able to jump to the side to dig it up, and then Rayshart put a little too much speed behind that one, and it goes long of the court.
We know she has that power. That one just a little bit too strong. And I'm sure Brockport, I know it's just 1 point, but to start that 3rd set off that way, well, they needed that, being down 2-0.
And Yan sneaks it over as Coyle timed it well and was going to challenge her up front, but Yan with just the quicker and more creative move to send that one down the line. Here's Yan at the service line. Coyle has it wiped up front. Yan finds Schlemmer. Schlemmer glides one right through the defense, as that one was off the hands and on the floor in a blink of an eye.
And again, that's Lutz and McHale. Those 2 are having some difficulties when it's split between them.
Over by Rayshart, and then goes off the arms of Thompson and out of play. And that was just simply off the serve receive, as SUNY Brockport didn't do a great job of receiving the serve. It gave Carnegie Mellon the advantage. Here's Yan again. More of a line drive serve there. Thompson. Chan playing the line well. Poke back over, and again, Chen right on cue with the dig. Here's Schlemmer. As Thompson able to lunge for it off the initial contact by Bowen, but no one there to keep it alive on the 3rd touch. Carnegie Mellon extends their lead to 3 now, up 4-1. Looking to make it another straight set victory today, and Yan continuing to serve beautifully as she picks up another CMU ace.
I just can't fathom how good this UAA is. I mean, this is the team that's penultimate. They're second to last in the UAA, and they're playing non-conference foes like this. It's amazing.
Thompson sends it over, and Shashaya just dropped it in, as she's even more surprised than we are. And even her head coach, Ann Bach, she had her clipboard on her head, said, I don't know about that one. It's what you see in kind of basketball where a player shoots an ill-advised shot and makes it. It's kind of what happened there. Might have been an ill-advised swing by Shashaya, but hey, it worked. Coyle sends it over. Rayshart. Williamson. Schlemmer glides it down the side. There's a big swing that's wedged through the block by Jordan Thompson. Finally getting something to go offensively. And SUNY Brockport picking up their second point of the third set. Here's Bowen at the service line. Yan finds Rosario. Coyle rejected back. Both Schlemmer and Rosario, great timing up front. And there's Schlemmer, comes gliding in. Man, oh man. Elizabeth Schlemmer letting her presence be known all over the place in this match here this afternoon.
She's just smooth. I mean, you use the word glide. I think that's great to describe her. She just kind of glides all over the court. She's poised, she's smooth, and I really do think that they found a gem in her. And again, just a freshman. It's amazing to think.
And Frostclap tips it over as Rosario got a little piece of it up front, but it wasn't enough. So back-to-back points now for SUNY Brockport as they trail by 4. And you're right, I mean, you just watch and it's almost effortless for her when she takes off. And if you watch where she takes off from, she's usually jumping even further from that 10-foot line, from that hit line. And the fact that she's able to jump from there and make solid contact like that, very impressive. Here's Brooklyn Sullivan with a good serve. There's Schlemmer. As we're speaking about her, she must be listening.
That's Lutz again. Schlemmer, listen, I'm catching on. She likes to target. I mean, obviously that left-handed shot, she's going to work from that right side to the far side. But Lutz is getting picked on. Same with Bowen. Both of them they're getting exposed by Schlemmer today.
There's Abby Chen with the serve. Coyle. And Chen got a hand on it, but Shashaya, that was right by her, wasn't able to reach on the second touch. And so now SUNY Brockport looking to dig into this deficit they find themselves in, trailing by 4. Andrea Coyle, a fifth-year senior from Caledonia, New York, back at the service line, hitting .224 this season. There's Dean. It just cross clap, the sidewinder, and then scoot back over as Schlemmer wisely letting it go out of play. She kind of did the old-fashioned look and scoot, making sure it didn't touch her. So that was good reaction by the freshman outside hitter.
And it looked like that was going to fall in play, but obviously Schlemmer was right there, watched it all the way. We've seen that a couple times today.
Here's Schlemmer with the serve. Great lunging effort by Allen. Shashaya rolls it over. Good swing there from Julia Reedy. And then Carnegie Mellon picking up the point. And at this point, again, this has been kind of the theme over the last 2 sets. This is right around the point where Carnegie Mellon starts to pull away and they really start to build that separation. Up 10-4 in this third set, looking for a clean sweep in this one. Frostclap comes charging in on 1 foot. She's asking for a tip. She's saying, come on, referee, and he is not going to listen. And so the tip does not go in favor of Maya Frostclap as she is frustrated with the no call there. Point going for Carnegie Mellon with a good serve by Schlemmer. Here's Frostclap looking for redemption, and she gets it. And Maya Frostclap with an exclamatory swing, finding very little real estate in the back row, looking to come back after the attacking error she had on the last play. 12-4. Carnegie Mellon leads by 8. Good serve there by Frostclap using the net to her advantage. Dean sends over a curveball off the slide. There's Reedy backing up Shashaya. Shashaya gets it right back, comes soaring in, and gets enough contact to send it over.
It's Julia Reedy, who hasn't played much in this game. Just didn't have the reaction time as it was off her teammates' hands. Couldn't get anything on the ball to put it back up in the air. That was way too long by Shashaya.
Yeah, Avani Shashaya putting a little too much mustard behind the swing. Carnegie Mellon still doubling up on SUNY Brockport, 12-6. Here's Carrie McHale, another fifth-year senior on this SUNY Brockport roster. 3 fifth-year seniors that SUNY Brockport has. Rayshart calmly approaches, and again, narrowly finding space. Doesn't matter how much room Laura Rayshart has, she's going to find a way to get a Carnegie Mellon point.
She is the queen of making sure that she just gets it either on the line or just inside. She has done that so many times. Just tremendous accuracy.
Isabel Shepard has entered into the match for her first bit of action. She put in a good serve there. Bowen diving over for the dig. There's Coyle with an aggressive approach, sends it right down the middle. There's Schlemmer with a screaming shot. Goes cross court, and Thompson threads the needle. She caught both Shepard as well as Shashaya on their heels, neither one of them knowing whose ball that was. As we'll see Shepard check out and Jane Dean re-enter into the match. Lauren Lutz back at the service line. 13-7, Carnegie Mellon leads by 6. Rosario with a big smacking swing. And Rosario puts her Tartans up by 7. Carnegie Mellon looking for their second straight sweep of the day. Already took down Denison earlier this morning as Bella Woodard has entered into the match. And again, I mean, you look at this roster, Bella Woodard coming in for her first bit of action in the third set, and she's got 78 kills this year. Alexis Sisson has also checked in as Woodard getting her first swing. A good one off the left hand. Thompson fingertips it over. Punch back by Raychart. Good reaction by her up front. Sisson. And Sisson goes long of the court. Sends that one out of play, and another attacking error for SUNY Brockport. And SUNY Brockport wanting to chat some things over.
Timeout.
15-7. Carnegie Mellon leads by 8. As this one looking to, at least at the moment right now, to be getting out of hand for this SUNY Brockport team, running out of time to make some improvements. Running through some of the numbers here in this match. Carnegie Mellon, again, continuing to just increase their hitting percentage, now up to .291. SUNY Brockport at 82 still. Block battle being won by the Tartans 3-2. However, Carnegie Mellon has 7 errors serving-wise, and that's something that, without a doubt, will need to be cleaned up as they, again, are getting set for their UAA tournament next week. Earlier this morning, Carnegie Mellon had 5 service errors against Denison. So now they've got 7 here against SUNY Brockport, but give them an ace there, thanks in part to guess who? Stella Yan. And it looks like there's some players that are being gliding over by the Carnegie Mellon bench and then dragged back. Did you see that, Rob?
Yeah, I don't know if that's. I'm not sure what they're going for.
Interesting
Maybe like
celebration.
A penguin?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it though.
Yeah, creative.
That would have been long.
A sky-high dig by Shashaya. Raychart puts it back in play. McHale feeds Thompson. Chen again, she just does a great job playing down the line. And Rosario finishing it off for the Tartans and puts this Tartan lead into double digits.
Well, this one's slipping away from SUNY Brockport. Carnegie Mellon really taking control. And that just tells you the separation between, these two teams. And Denison earlier on, that one just over.
Stella Yan with the sneaky serve. Just barely snuck that one over. And it seems that whenever there's an ace, it looks like the Carnegie Mellon bench players will then slide, and then one of them will pull them back. I don't know why, but you got to love it. And it looks like they're going to have to do it again because it's another ace for the Carnegie Mellon Tartans.
Well, that for sure. We got to get that important information to the folks here at home. And you know what? Most of them probably know. Friends and family of the athletes here, they probably know. We're the only ones out of the know.
Yeah.
Which we need to get in the know.
Well, I think people at home are probably laughing at us and saying, those two broadcasters, what do they know? What do they know about
apparently
volleyball celebrations?
Yep.
Well, I know Carnegie Mellon knows a thing or two about taking leads. They've got a big one right now, 19-7. I have to say, after the SUNY Brockport timeout, I mean, you're at kind of your, like you said, it's slipping out of their hands, Rob. It's melting out of their palms, and they're running out of opportunities. But you have to look at SUNY Brockport's this whole season. I mentioned it earlier. I mean, they finished in the top of their conference in a lot of major categories. A year ago, they did the same thing, and they actually improved on some of their numbers from a year ago to this year. You look at last year, they finished second in the conference in kills. This season, they come back finishing in first. You look at their numbers improvement-wise, assist-wise. Last year, finishing second in the conference in assists, and this year, SUNY Brockport coming back and finishing first in assists in the conference as well. So a big improvement from a year ago.
Well, I think when you get out of conference, it's really kind of a wake-up call to see the difference either in lack of ability, as we have a point here and a block from Rosario, I believe. But it's you get into the UAA, and a lot of these teams, the PAC, the President's Athletic Conference, you had the conference that Denison and Hiram came from, and then the SUNY here, there's just a different level of play once you get to the UAA. And you don't normally really grasp that until you're at the national scale, the national tournament. And we do have the Division III championships being held here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at Duquesne University at the Palumbo Center. And whenever you watch that, like I watched the women's Division III basketball, and it's unbelievable play. I mean, it really is a separation of talent, you know, between those conferences, and you don't really get to see that unless they play each other, and they don't normally play SUNY and UAA that often.
Smothering block up front, but it's a tooled one for Alexa Sisson. And now Carnegie Mellon leads 20-9. Bone with a low line drive serve. Woodard with a pulverizing swing, tooling a block and getting a Tartan point. And to build off your point there, Rob, I think it also just shows the respect that Division III athletes should be receiving. And there's still tons of talented players that play Division III athletes. The reason they didn't want to play Division I or they didn't want to play Division II. But you know what? They found a place to play at a Division III school, and they've been able to thrive. And that's when you have those very successful programs. As Frostclap with a fairly successful swing, but even more success on the dig there by Chen.
Well, a lot of these athletes, you know, in Division III, student athletes, right? They focus heavily on their education. They value the education that they get. These are tremendous schools that are within Division III, especially here at Carnegie Mellon and some of these academic schools in the UAA, right? I mean, NYU, Chicago, Washington. And then we have one that's you know, down south in Emory that is a tremendous school. But Carnegie Mellon, obviously known worldwide for its education, and you have these really talented athletes that value their education, making a difference in their society one day. And I think that this experience allows them to continue to play and play at a relatively high level, but also having the forefront of their education. And I think that's what's kind of confused whenever people think about Division III, is that these athletes are extremely talented, but they're also caring a lot about their education. And that's a big piece of that.
Without a doubt, and the education aspect is so important to emphasize, as Laura Rayshard picking up the service error there. So now SUNY Brockport entering into the double-digit point range, 23-10. Carnegie Mellon leads by 13.
Well, to put this into perspective, I don't mean to interrupt, but there was a Mason Miller who was a pitcher at Waynesburg University,
yes, absolutely.
which was part of the President's Athletic Conference, which CMU is part of for just football, as we have a point here from Devereaux. But he was a guy that he was a little bit undersized. He bulked up when he was in college. He's very, open to what had happened with him and his health. He, was not very healthy there in college. He got diagnosed with diabetes, went on medicine, kind of rethought about his training and his diet. And now he's in the Oakland Athletics organization and was drafted. He went 1 year of Division I at the end. He had 1 year left of eligibility, as we have the win here by Carnegie Mellon. But that's a guy that played Division III that had potential to play at a Division I, eventually did. But once he kind of came full circle, got his education, he graduated, and he also spent an extra year in college and got his graduate, I believe, but he's still playing professional baseball and hopefully one day making it to the bigs. So these Division III athletes, there's still a lot of talent here.
No question, and we saw a considerable amount of talent today between all of these various teams. Carnegie Mellon taking this one in straight sets. 25-10 is the final in the third set, as Carnegie Mellon now advancing to 19-6 overall, and their perfect home record continues 9-0 here at Carnegie Mellon, doing a great job at defending home court, while SUNY Brockport, they fall to 19-7 overall, picking up their second road loss of the year, going on to 8-2 overall on the road. Well, Rob, to kind of wrap it up for us, put a little bow on this, what were your kind of final thoughts and just your overall summary of this one?
Dominant. You know, they were dominant last night against Hiram. Dominant, even though it was competitive, but they won in 3 sets. They really forced their will towards the end against Denison. And then, obviously, in this one, they really made a statement against the SUNY Brockport team that beat Denison, but Denison gave them a little bit more of a fight. Again, obviously, it's based on matchups. Maybe, you know, after playing last night, they weren't as warmed up as they were for this third game. The first game, or the second game, rather, that was this morning. A little bit of a slow start for the Tartans, but they got it together. And, you know, out of those 3 games, winning in 9 sets is pretty impressive.
Winning streak continues, 5 as they head into UAA tournament play next week. They'll take on Chicago in the quarterfinals. Well, for everybody that could make this broadcast possible, all of the help that Rob and I got from the tremendous SID department here, Andrea James, who has been, quite frankly, and I don't know about you, Rob, I don't want to speak for you, but she has been the MVP this weekend so far, just giving us tremendous information. Mark Fisher, who's holding down the fort over at football, a fantastic SID himself as well. And Rob, I know you and I were talking with Andrea beforehand, and we just really appreciate all the help that we get here at Carnegie Mellon, making our jobs a little bit better. And also, at the end of the day, they make us sound a little bit smarter than we really are. But for everybody that made this broadcast possible, my dear friend and broadcasting partner, Rob McKinney, this is Jack Ridenauer signing off from the Carnegie Mellon University Athletics website, saying have a wonderful rest of your weekend.